Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I want to interrupt the music real quick because the conversation that Georgia just had with us is an amazing conversation that has everything to do with January 6th and the complicity of the United States government with the policing agencies as it pertains to Black lives. David, I'm trying to get the music back up a little bit underneath me and it won't let me. I don't know if you could bring it back in. I didn't want to end the music. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna do it real quick. I want to play this clip from, you'll know it when you see it. This is how long we've been fighting and dealing with the police murder of Black lives. I want to see what Fred Sanford had to say about it. Run that clip real quick, David.
You know that hypertension and heart disease kill more blacks than anything else in America?
I didn't know that. I thought it was the police.
That's it. We've been dealing with it so much longer than this, but it was a joke back then. We'll be back. Benjamin Dixon Show coming up next. Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, non-gender conforming individuals, to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I want to jump right into a couple of stories. This morning, I am rocking solo by myself. Thank you to Georgia Fort for on the clock as always. I love to begin the day with some of these critical issues that we're facing. And I had no intention of doing this, but I want to actually expand on the conversation that Georgia Fort started on, particularly as it pertains to the commitment that Black folks have had in this country, this dedication to a country that has shown no dedication to us, particularly as it pertains to January 6th. America's got to make up their mind, folks. I just got to say it very clearly. America has got to make up its mind whether or not, and when I say America, here's the thing about the deep state. I'm going to explain the deep state to you real quick. There are institutions, and I have actually like a 2-hour conversation with Glenn Greenwald, of all people, about this particular conversation from about 4 or 5 years ago. There is an institution that is inside of the United States. There are institutions that are inside of the United States that have a momentum and a trajectory that is baked in. And it takes every bit of energy that we have to redirect those institutions. I'm not just talking about the Senate. I'm not just talking about the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm talking also about the institutions, the bureaucracies, the different agencies, FBI, DEA, CIA, the military industrial complex, the defense contractors. There is an institution that is underneath the facade of America that really determines the trajectory. But here's what Tucker Carlson isn't telling you. That system has been historically lockstep with white supremacy. It has been indistinguishable from white supremacy. It has been the servant of white supremacy. It has exported not democracy, but white supremacy across the entire globe with a little bit of capitalism to pacify the ruling elite in whatever nation colonizers are going. Neocolonialism. That's where we are. I just want to make sure we give the proper context. America has served as a matter of course, as a matter of design. The quote unquote deep state in the United States of America has served traditionally people like Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson is upset because Ben Shapiro is upset because January 6th shined a light to all the institutions and let them know that America has a choice to make. You're either going to stand by white supremacy and fiddle as your empire burns, or you're going to change course and you're no longer going to serve white supremacy, but you're going to serve the marginalized communities that have suffered underneath white supremacy all these years. And that is what Tucker Carlson really fears. Because can you imagine a military industrial complex that is not lockstep with white supremacy and capitalism across the globe, bombing indiscriminately in the global South, creating entire wars just so that they could drop bombs and get their quarterly profit margins. Can you imagine an American empire that did not serve white supremacy and capitalism? The thing is, they can imagine it, and they're absolutely terrified of it. Tucker Carlson is absolutely terrified of it. The Proud Boys, Ben Shapiro, Glenn Beck, Fox News, Sean Hannity, Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, they are all literally terrified of the notion of America not serving white supremacy, not serving greed, because underneath capitalism is the same disease that has been here since time immemorial: greed. And white American conservatives cannot imagine, without the gripping terror and suffocating possibility, that the very monster that they created in the form of the American empire will no longer serve them into the future, because you all showed them on January 6th exactly who the hell you are. A bunch of spoiled, petulant men children who can't get their way. And because of that, they want to destroy the entirety of America. I do think the deep state needs to have a word with you all. And that word is prison. Until such time as we abolish prisons. That said, I want to play a clip of some of these black Capitol police officers and show you what they did for a country that would not do for them what they had to do for this country. I haven't organized these clips. Let's play the first one.
Minutes.
Thank you so much, Chair Perlmutter. And, I think one of the things that's important to acknowledge is that this
All right,
is
let's
one
break
of
this
our
one here.
first
Let's break this one
congressional hearing.
That's the clip. I want to go with the clip, David. You have it down here on the bottom. You have the police officer here. I'm going to start this one. Here's the first clip I want us to watch.
As I arrived to the East Front Plaza of the Capitol, I heard an officer yell there was a breach at the rotunda door, and I heard various officers calling for assistance at multiple locations throughout the building.
Now you're listening to the voice of Capitol Police Officer Carnisha Mendoza. She's a black woman, and this is what she did to help protect this country on January 6th.
Many of the doors to the building were not accessible due to the size of the crowd. I was able to enter a lower level door with the assistance of a Capitol Division officer. Once inside the memorial door, I immediately noticed a large crowd of possibly 200 rioters yelling in front of me. Since I was alone, I turned to go back so I could enter another door, but within the few seconds it took me to walk back to the door I entered, there were already countless rioters outside the building banging on the door. I had no choice but to proceed through the violent crowd in the building. I made my way through the crowd by yelling and pushing people out of my way until I saw Capitol Police civil disturbance units in riot gear in the hallway. They were holding the hallway to keep rioters from penetrating deeper into the building. I immediately jumped in line with them to assist with holding the crowd of rioters. At some point, my right arm got wedged between rioters and the railing along the wall. A CDU sergeant pulled my right arm free, and had he not, I'm certain it would have been broken. Shortly after that, an officer was pushed and fell to the floor. I assisted the officer to a safer location and got back in line. At some point, the crowd breached the line officers worked so hard to maintain. Civil disturbance units began to redeploy to keep rioters from accessing other areas of the building. I proceeded to the rotunda where I noticed a heavy smoke-like residue and smelled what I believed to be military-grade CS gas, a familiar smell. It was mixed with fire extinguisher spray deployed by rioters. The rioters continued to deploy CS into the rotunda. Officers received a lot of gas exposure, which is worse inside the building than outside because there's nowhere for it to go. I received chemical burns to my face that still have not healed to this day. I witnessed officers being knocked to the ground and hit with various objects that were thrown by rioters. I was unable to determine exactly what those objects were. I immediately assumed command in the rotunda and called for additional assets. Officers began to push the crowd out the door. After a couple hours, officers cleared the rotunda, but had to physically hold the door closed because it had been broken by the rioters. Officers begged me for relief as they were unsure how long they could.
I'm listening to her testimony. Their lives were in the lives of police officers were at risk on January 6th. But because those police officers were, like Tucker Carlson said, not your ordinary police officers, not your regular police officers. Can anyone tell me the difference between these police officers that we are showing, right? Can anyone show me the difference between the police officers that we are showing and the police officers that Tucker Carlson actually talks about protecting? Why is the disposition towards police officers suddenly different when those police officers are not carrying out their white supremacist agenda of people like Fox News and Tucker Carlson? All of a sudden, they go from celebrating the thin blue line to outright saying that these people are not your ordinary cops. Well, no, they're not. Captain Carnisha, she is not your ordinary cop because she stood by this country even when this country wouldn't stand by her. She's not alone. Here's a clip of Officer Eugene Goodman as he protects the Capitol against people who come after him. And I want you to listen. This is another black officer who has shown a level of commitment to this country that this country has not shown to him. Officer Eugene Goodman. I want to bring into this conversation about the commitment that black folks have had to this country, not only in the form of the U.S. Capitol Police that we just showed you, but we also showed you we've seen the commitment that black folks have had to this country since day one. And no one can discuss it better than our historian, our brother Carl Mack. Brother Mack. How you doing, brother? It is good.
Yeah,
it's good to see you. Oh, you can't hear anything. Looks like you get ready. Well, while you get your stuff set up, looks like you get ready to go to 18-hole Baptist this morning. So we're going to give you a chance to get your audio together, and I want you to come in and chime in on this conversation because I for one am tired. I for one am tired of the level of commitment that we are showing to this country and the level of commitment that this country refuses to show to us. Because now it's time for the rubber to meet the road. This so-called quote unquote deep state that Republicans and Fox News wants you to be afraid of. The fact of the matter is what they want their followers to be afraid of more than anything else is the idea that America could actually serve another interest than the interest of white supremacy and the interest of greed. And that is a notion that these white supremacists are willing to march up the steps on the Capitol in order to overthrow the American democratic experiment simply because they lost their way. We're going to take a quick break. We want to get Brother Mac plugged into the conversation. When we come back, I have a lot of clips that I need to go over. One of them you already heard a little bit of, AOC, as she goes off in her testimony or her questioning rather on Capitol Hill. Also want to cover these right-wing extremist pastors who right-wing watch. They continuously bring us this content. And I think it's important for us to go over and see what these folks are telling their people, their parishioners, their listeners, because those are the people who then turn around and mount up to go to the Capitol on January 6th. So let's talk about what these people are preaching in their churches and how it leads directly to what we saw on the insurrection terrorist attack of January 6th. More like it or not, Benjamin Dixon Show, everything. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Just picked up some bands, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Swerving, making plays, quick Ferrari red. Never out my zone, touchdown in my hands. Only fam around me, I can't have no friends. Had to cut you off, you left me out for dead. Ever since I was a teen, had prices on my head. Had to cut you off, you left me out for dead. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Just picked up some bands, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Just picked up some bands, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon Says. Yeah, I'm the running man.
Don't feel right. I still wanna party with her. Oh yeah. Even when it don't feel right. You know I'ma party with her. We be chillin' on through Wednesday, slept until it's Thursday. She don't wanna leave me, not just yet. Told me all about last Friday when she went all crazy.
Welcome back.
Go to bed till Saturday.
Welcome back. I want to jump right into the. I want to walk right into this conversation about some of the other things that are happening in this country. Brother Mac is going to join us momentarily as we expand the conversation and go a little bit further. One of the things that I am keeping an eye on constantly is really are the games. The things that we have to watch on a regular basis are the games that Republicans, conservatives, and quite frankly, some liberals like to play, particularly as it pertains to poor people in this country and the disproportionate amount of black people that are poor in this country. I want to play a clip of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And in this clip, she is having a conversation about those games, right? Those level of games. And David, if you could throw that clip back into our vault, the kind of games that are being played, the semantics that are being played. I'm thinking of the conversation I had with Professor Carl Hart. And the very first conversation I had with him, he's the neuroscientist from Columbia. And he's the scientist who does studies on drug use for adults. And one of the very first things I ever heard that brother say was how the job of racism is to occupy your time and to slow you down. And I noticed that is exactly what we're having to do. Every time we have to cover one of these stories, we're having to cover it because we have to expend energy and time debunking them. It's the same thing, not only with white supremacy, but it's also the same thing with the economic games that the ruling elite in this country like to play. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had a couple of things to say in that category. Let's take a listen in to AOC.
For 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Chair Perlmutter. And, I think one of the things that's important to acknowledge is that this is one of our first congressional hearings on public banking in modern American history. And today is a historic day. I think it's a day worth celebrating. And I thank the chair for his courage and his political courage and willing to convene this in front of the Financial Services Committee. Now, I learned a while ago, when I first got to Congress, I thought, man, people definitely study what they're talking about here. Then I got here and I realized that a lot of my colleagues don't even read the bills that they are commenting on. But for anyone who is curious, it's right here at the desk. We're making lots of statements that have nothing to do with the legislation. And frankly, if I made comments that very publicly demonstrated that I didn't read the legislation I was discussing, I'd be embarrassed, but that is an aside. Here on planet Earth, though, this bill is about providing a public option for financial services, an option, not a government takeover, right, Mr. Pawar? This is not about a government takeover of all banking services in the United States. But I do think we should talk about how things work now, right? Let's talk about some of the extractive practices of private for-profit banking in this country.
I got to pause it there because it's about to get good. It's about to get good. I want to frame it just a little bit more. This is a conversation. This is a debate. This is a testimony around the usage and the purposes of public banking. Now, we went over this a little bit yesterday. I talked about it at great lengths with Dr. Rashad Ritchie on TYT's Indisputable yesterday. Matter of fact, I feel like this is something that we talk about all the time. We talk about the exploitative nature of private banking that every single person who's listened to me in some form or fashion, you have experienced, whether you've experienced the overdraft industry, the overdraft fee industry, or you've been on the receiving end of like the 0.005% interest rate that they offer you. All of these are part of the exploitative nature of private banking. And there's a proposal before the Congress right now that would offer us an option, a public option for banking that would do away with some of the exploitative nature of private banking. This is what AOC is talking about. Let's continue. I want to continue listening in to what she had to say.
And why we desperately need a public option. So, Ms. Del Rio, when a commercial bank decides whether to make a loan and what interest rate to charge, it considers not only the riskiness of the loan itself, but it also incorporates the bank's target profit margins based on their quarterly goals and shareholder dividends, correct?
Yes, I would say that the banks are driven by profit maximizing motives, yes.
So it's not this mythology of we have this interest rate based on how risky the loan is, but it's also we have this interest rate based on how much of a profit margin on Wall Street we want to make. Now, isn't it the case that a public bank is likely to be a cheaper option than Wall Street for businesses and governments who seek affordable credit? Because a public bank is non-for-profit, so it doesn't need to pad its interest rates in order to make a profit. Isn't that right?
Right. A public bank would be chartered to serve the public good, and it would remove the profit-seeking shareholders from the equation and allow for other benefits other than maximizing profits.
And a public
I got to jump in here. It's a long clip, but this is an important conversation. You guys do realize, does everyone clearly realizes, because we cover it on a regular basis, that the reason you're only paid so much in interest if you happen to have enough money to actually leave some money in savings, right? There's a big caveat there. Most Americans don't have $500. The average American does not have $500 in savings. So you're not getting any interest rates. The rest of us who don't have any money in savings, those of us, we're the ones being exploited by the overdraft banking industry. And all of this is because underneath the operations of these private banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all the rest of them, is the profit motive. And this is what they're discussing at great lengths here. I want to play a few more seconds of it and then enhance the conversation a bit more with the next clip.
public bank ostensibly wouldn't have, billionaire CEOs that are paid hundreds or thousands times the amount that their lowest employees are made. Is that correct?
Yes, that's certainly our vision for public banking.
Now, in the same vein, public banks are able to extend credit and banking services to communities that Wall Street has deemed unprofitable, correct?
Yes.
Now, I represent parts of the Bronx where more than half of residents are either unbanked or underbanked. We heard some stories today that I thought were very, optimistic and rosy, like Wall Street executives. They will want to compete for business. Of course, they'll extend services in low-income communities. But we're talking about Earth, right? And on planet Earth, there are a lot of communities that are not profitable to bank. Now, how would the Federal Public Banking Act complement state and city level efforts across the country?
Yes, thank you for that question. We talk about the Federal Public Banking Act as a game changer for local efforts like ours in New York, where we are working with broad-based coalitions and more than 65 state legislators to create a state framework for local public banks across New York City. So right now, public banks or cities that would seek to charter public banks would have to go through commercial bank charters. What our legislation locally would do was create an appropriate and safe and sound framework with capitalization requirements and many other provisions to ensure sound governance and safety and soundness.
Thank you. I apologize for cutting you off. I just have 30
All right,
seconds.
I want to jump in there.
Sorry.
I want to jump in here. That is the voice of And again, let me put her back on the screen so I can give you the proper introduction of who we just got through listening to. Of course, there was AOC in the conversation, but that second voice that you heard was Miss Dayanero Del Rio. And she is she's the one giving testimony as it pertains to how it is that banks and their motivations are inherently contradictory with the best interest of consumers. This is a standard conversation, but this is an important conversation that we have to understand that is underneath everything that we see. If you want to understand the real connections between January 6th and capitalism, you got to understand how many rich people were up there on January 6th. See, we like to think of all those people who participated on January 6th as somehow some type of aggrieved, poor, economically distraught white people. No, those are wealthy people. Some people flew up on private jets. And so there is a connection in this country that Black people particularly have had to survive both white supremacy, but also the greed that is at the core of these banking industries and capitalism in general. We're ready to bring in the one, the only, the dynamic professor, historian, Dr. Carl Mack. Brother Mack, how you doing this morning?
Brother, listen, man, I am cool in the game, but when I woke up and heard you were flying solo, I don't care if you look like death warmed over. Go get your brother, man. Go roll with him. So,
hey, man, listen. Hey, man, every now and then I remind myself. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but whatever scene that was with the brother pulled out the sword and he was fighting the hordes that were coming in by himself. That's how I do it. Like if I got let me put it how we say it in church. I go if I have to go by myself. So we're gonna. How you been, man? We missed you. How you doing, brother?
Man, I miss you all too. I'm cool in the game, putting some things back in order. I had a few things that I needed to focus on, but listen, man, forget all that nonsense.
Yeah,
I got a couple of things here, man. First of all, when little Tucky boy want to talk about, is it possible, right? Is it possible that the FBI could have orchestrated this? Hey, Tucker, is it possible that it's white supremacists that have infiltrated the FBI? Is it possible that your little Klans wearing friends are now part of the police? Is it possible that your DEA agent could have been undercover white supremacist? Is that possible? You mofos, get the fuck out of here. Is that possible, Tucker Carlson, that all throughout America, these white supremacist attitudes are all over the place? Is that possible? See, now what the FBI did, little Tucky, ain't nothing new. See, I remember when the FBI infiltrated the Black Panthers. I remember when they was phone tapping Malcolm and Martin and anybody else that was trying to be equal. I remember that. See, but see, if I brought that to you, that ain't possible. So no. And then I watched how you have insurrection in quotes as if it wasn't an insurrection. See, I watched all that, little Tucky. So like I said, when you want to talk about what's possible, no, let me tell you what's real, player. What's real is that this white supremacist attitude is in the military, it's in the FBI, it's with the police, it's in the halls of Congress, it's on Fox News, like it or not.
Little Tucky. Little Tucky.
Little Tucky, man. Go, let's talk. What kind of shit is that, Ben? Is it possible?
It's absolutely historic. No. But he won't admit it. They will never have that conversation about how they infiltrate, how the FBI sent a letter to Dr. King, encourage him to kill himself because of all the surveillance they had on him. They'll never admit those things because they don't want to admit that this so-called deep state that they want everyone to be afraid of has been aligned against blackness since we came to this country.
From day one. So again, when you want to ask the questions, is it possible that the FBI orchestrated it? No, player. Ask the question, is it possible of the infiltration of a white supremacist mindset throughout law enforcement, government, all of that? Okay, little Tucky, I done tuck your ass in. Now, let's go to banking.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't hanging out with you yesterday physically, but in spirit. Know that a brother is there. So now that you're talking about banking, I'm watching CNBC. Jamie Dimon.
Yep.
Now, for those of you who may not know, he's the head of JP Morgan. So what the sister is now talking about, Jamie Dimon, his board said, Jamie, we like what you're doing so much. Only you could possibly do this, that we want to give you 1.5 million stock options. Now, family, that might not seem like much to you until you start weighing that against the fact that JP Morgan's stock price is $150 a share.
Wow.
Men lie, women lie. But this little sister here, she ain't lying to you. How does one man get stock options? 1.5 million stock options for a stock price that is $150 a share.
Wow. 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 Greed.
And
charging
then,
us overdraft fees.
right, and then I'm gonna go to the damn ATM machine, pull out $20, and you gonna charge me $3.50 for that.
That's right.
Right? Come on with that, man. What's wrong with y'all?
But they got us so accustomed to this type of living. I'm glad you brought up Jamie Dimon. There's a clip that I'm gonna upload here because Elizabeth Warren actually called him out about that exact thing, and this was in the pandemic, right? We're talking about the number of in this clip that I'm getting ready to play. There are a number of banks that made an obscene amount of money during the pandemic. Dr. Mack, off of overdraft fees alone. Right. And I remember very clearly when I was much younger and I was a teacher. I think I was like 26 or 25, and I was going through this situation with Bank of America where they would rearrange my purchases in order to maximize the overdraft fees. There was an entire class action lawsuit about that. You could Google it. Anyone can Google it to get the backstory there in terms of how they arrange your overdraft fees to maximize them. And I remember going into one of the banks one day, Brother Mac, and talking with the banking manager, and she just outright told me, she said, well, we got to make money off of you somehow. And during the pandemic, the amount of money they made off of people who had no money through overdraft fees was somewhere between 20 million, estimated between 20 billion rather, and 30 billion. I just want your thoughts on that, because I want us to take a look at this clip. Like, they have these these private banks have an inherent conflict with our goals of financial freedom, especially when you don't have any money to begin with. How can somebody ever get out of the trap that these banks create when they are making billions of dollars off of our suffering through overdraft fees, Brother Mac?
Well, listen, we have to understand financial literacy. First, let's start with that. We have to become smarter with our money. We can't, the excuse that we don't know, damn that. We beyond that. And then you have to have sisters like the one who are in the halls of Congress now, bringing that attention. And then us collectively, trust and believe, this situation can be handled. But as much as this capitalistic society can take from us, it will. And when I say us, fam, I'm not in that category. Let me just put that shit on Front Street. I'm not in that category, but I ain't in that category because I was gifted the option of not being in the category. I ain't in the category because I worked my ass off and I managed money. So trust and believe that there was a time now when I was in that same situation. If I went to an ATM and I poured out $10, they taking 30% charge on that. So they look $2 or $3, just to put it in simple terms. If it's $10 and they taking $2, they charge you 20%. So there was a time when I was in that category. I'm not in that category now, but I still empathize with it. And I act like I'm in that category. I still act that way.
Yeah.
But these banking systems are not in conflict. Trust and believe. They are here to pillage every penny that they can get. But this is that capitalistic society. I'm now watching, and they got the CEOs of the airlines up. They're talking about how great their last quarter was. Man, get out of here. What do you mean your last quarter was great? Do you know how much money, taxpayer dollars, we gave to you?
Come on.
Bail you out? Remember when the subprime mortgage crisis was going? I know friends now who lost their homes, who didn't get that kind of bailout. Man, this society, when you look at everything that I've been watching you all this week, this is an example. When you want to talk about white privilege, here are the things that I want you to list, Brother Dixon. The white boy who looked like Jesus, because he certainly ain't Jesus. It looked like they Jesus. Let me put it that way. The white boy who looked like their Jesus, who was in court with the Karen hair, who only got 8 months.
That's right. That's right.
Reason, white privilege.
That's it.
Like it or not.
That's it. That's it.
When they're debating whether or not January 6th was an insurrection, or the DEA agent is talking about, I'm there with my gun to protect the public. The only way that you have a narrative like that, white privilege. When you talking about possibly kidnapping a governor,
come on,
and they got your monkey ass on tape, and the FBI still allows you to walk around, that's white privilege.
That's it.
When you got a company that is failing in a capitalistic society, and you say, I want all the profits to come to me, but I want all of my debt to be shared by Americans. That's white privilege.
Come on, Doc.
Try to imagine a black man starting his company, and now he's making millions, billions of dollars with his company. And he now buys his yacht, his G4, G5. He's living that life. But then he gets in trouble with his black company. And he comes to Congress, he comes to the American citizens and say, now, when I made all my money, it was my money. But now that I'm in debt, damn near about to file bankruptcy, I need you all to bail me out. And they do that. See, you can't even imagine that Jerry Lewis bullshit. You can't even imagine it. But this is what just happened.
Wow.
During the pandemic.
Yeah.
White companies, American companies, banks, airlines, they came to the American citizens and said, when times are good, we gonna rake your ass across the coals and we gonna keep all the profit. Now that we in trouble, we need you to share the debt.
Yes. It's something that
white privilege, like it or not.
That's it. You reminded me of a phrase that that I first heard from a radio host by the name of Randy Rhodes. She's a white progressive liberal, but she said it like this. She said it specifically in regards to how we bailed out these banks and these airlines back in the Great Recession, and how we are doing it now. She has a phrase. She says they want people like Jamie Dimon, and we're going to listen to this clip next from Elizabeth Warren roasting Jamie Dimon. They want to capitalize the profits and socialize the losses.
That's right.
They want the American taxpayer to take care of their losses while they charge you this much. Play this clip, David, from Jamie Dimon and the exchange between Jamie Dimon and Elizabeth Warren, as she makes it plain how much these vultures made off of poor people during the pandemic, and listen to his disrespectful disposition towards poor people in this country. Take a listen.
Mr. Diamond, that was not the question. Did you had an automatic protection. So I'm asking, you were recommended, the regulators recommended you offer that same kind of protection to your customers. How much, in fact, did JP Morgan collect in overdraft fees from their customers in 2020? Do you know the number?
I don't know the number in front of me, but
I actually have the number in front of me. It's $1.463 billion. That's nearly $1.5 billion that you collected from your customers. Now, do you know how much JP Morgan's profit would have been in 2020 if you had followed the recommendation of the regulators and waived overdraft fees? to help struggling consumers? In other words, without that overdraft money, would your bank have been in financial trouble?
We waived the fees for customers upon request if they were under stress because of COVID.
You know, I appreciate that you want to duck this question. Do you know how much your profits would have been if you'd actually waived all the fees as the regulators recommended?
We waived the fees every time.
The answer is your profits would have been $27.6 billion. I did the math for you. So here's the thing. You and your colleagues come in today to talk about how you stepped up and took care of customers during the pandemic, and it's a bunch of baloney. In fact, it's about $4 billion. Dollars you took from consumers during the pandemic?
No.
Right now?
No.
No. That's right. Over the past
I got to
year,
read this for you.
Passed on the breaks that you got from the.
In the past year, they could have passed. Here, J.P. Morgan. That was just J.P. Morgan by himself, Brother Mac. His attitude. I want you to address that directly, but I want to read this. And this is from the Wall Street Journal. 2 estimated annual consumer overdraft revenue sources: Moab Service Financials Moab's Services Inc. Financial firms brought in an estimated $31.3 billion in consumer overdraft revenue in 2020. And this is from the Wall Street Journal. And one of the sources that compiled how much banks made was the Moab Services Financial Institution. And they estimated that Jamie Dimon, Bank of America, Chase, obviously with Jamie Dimon, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all of these banking institutions, Brother Mac, brought in $31.3 billion in 2020 alone during the pandemic. And that was his attitude. Your thoughts, Brother Mac?
Hey, man. It ain't nothing else to say when all's been said. The only thing that just tickled me was when Elizabeth Warren is laying down those facts, and I'm only laughing to stop from crying because that's how greedy this system is. And when they got you down, that's the knee on the neck, fam. Financially, every time you go to that cash machine, that's the knee on the neck. And the reason I was laughing is because God bless Elizabeth Warren for saying that's a bunch of baloney. Because see, that's why I can't be in Congress. Because I'm like, look, man, that is a bunch of Jerry Lewis bullshit. You know what? Shut up. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. But Elizabeth can maintain herself.
Yeah.
Bam, this is what we're talking about.
That's right.
This type of attitude towards this country and all the things you've been talking about. Now, Ben, if you don't mind, man, and I know you may be prepared for this, but I want to just flip this conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
To deal with us now, us as folks. So I'm watching this new variant come out, right? It's the variant to come out. And so now the NFL has come out and they said, basically, as best I can remember, look, we can't force you to get vaccinated. But if you show up on game day and you test positive for COVID and you're not vaccinated, your team will forfeit the game.
Wow.
All the players on your team will not get paid. And the players on the other team ain't gonna get paid because you chose not to get vaccinated.
Wow.
So I used to be a diehard Cowboy fan. And I say I used to be until Colin Kaepernick took that knee and I really got to see the racist attitude of Jerry Jones. And so at this point, I don't trip with them fools like that. But, I still follow on the sideline, right? So I'm watching when this news comes out, Zeke, right, comes out. And Zeke is talking about, well, he hadn't heard the news that we just talked about what the NFL is doing. But Zeke is basically taking a stance that, you can't tell me what to do with my body on vaccine, when it comes to being vaccinated. And I'm trying to listen with some level of reasoning to this young Black millionaire. But I'm understanding that I'm old enough easily to be his daddy. And I want to slap the shit out of him. I really want to slap that fucking taste right out of his mouth. And I do. Because I'm sitting there saying,
no, wait, who is this? Let me make sure I got the right. This is Elliott. Who? What's his last name?
Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, Zeke Elliott. Yeah.
Just put running back for the Cowboys.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Ezekiel Elliott. So he's given this, I guess this is supposed to be logic. I guess it's supposed to be logic, family, of why he's not getting vaccinated. But then he starts laughing when the reporter gives him the news on the NFL. And he says, well, you know, it's just money. It's just money. Okay, fam, let's move the money out of the way, Zeke. Let's move the money out of the way. See, it's irresponsible cats like you. And Zeke, I've tried to, I love and support you, but I'm gonna slap your ass right now. I'm gonna take you behind the woodshed. Because it's motherfuckers like you, when you have this platform that you could help our community, because you are, whether you want to or not, you are a role model. We're looking at you because you have that platform. And so what pains me, Zeke, is that you can look at the numbers of number of people who have died. You can especially look inside of our community and see the number of people who have died. And you can promote that, look, fam, this thing is taking us out in a crazy, disproportionate kind of way. We got to get vaccinated. You got enough resources at your disposal to get to the truth and not buy into this fake new racist narrative. And I'm going to call it racist because of this. The mask, the whole concept of wearing the mask in the minds of some white folks, this is their new Confederate flag. I ain't wearing no damn mask. I'm going to buy my Confederate flag. Good. The Confederate flag got your ass killed, and not wearing that mask gonna get your ass killed. Go right on with that, family. But this is their new badge of honor right now. This is the new racist symbol. Not to wear the mask, not to get vaccinated. Cool. I ain't wishing death on you. But I mean, when you start talking that Old Testament, Pharaoh let my people go. He didn't do it. That plague thing came. Again, I'm a Sunday school dropout. I'm a Sunday school dropout. So I'm paraphrasing. But on this new variant, when you got people like Zeke, you got black athletes, when you watching what is happening in the community, and now that they're talking about this new variant, it's taking these young cats out like it ain't nobody's business.
Oh, it is. Let me read. I'm glad you brought this up, because I want to read this tweet from Dr. Cleavon, friend I follow on Twitter, and he's sharing news from Arkansas, KATV.com. Arkansas confirms 2 child deaths from COVID. The first pediatric COVID-19 death happened at the end of last year. The second one happened this month. 12 kids are currently hospitalized in Arkansas alone. 7 are critically ill. This new Delta variant is kicking young people's butts.
Ain't messing around. And then now, here you got Zeke. You know, just like when you run with the football, you fumble the damn football, Zeke. You're fumbling this opportunity too, player. You're fumbling this opportunity too. Our community needs to understand that this, you know, say what you want to. If them racist crackers don't want to wear their mask, they don't want to get vaccinated. Okay, fine, fam. You know, that's on you. Go ahead and do that shit. But when you know, for me, when Obama got that vaccination, check. When my mama, who loves Obama, got that vaccination, check. When I'm looking at the number of people who have died in this country because they weren't vaccinated, check. I went and got that vaccination. And I love the fact that when we were on this show, I now thought that I was invincible because I've now been vaccinated. So now I can walk around without my mask. But that new variant, and what I'm hearing on the Benjamin Dixon show is, hey, Carl, you better sit your little ass down and get that mask back on. The new variant,
man. I got a David. Actually, the clip I want to bring into this conversation is to have a conversation about how, and Brother Mac, I unpacked this a little bit this week. They have suspended with their, when I say they, conservatives, Republicans, people who wear the mask or refuse to wear the mask as a symbol of the Confederacy. Like you said, their refusal is in lockstep with the rise of the South again, the Confederacy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a clip that I want to play, and she's laughing about this situation. They have suspended with all concepts of self-preservation.
Right.
They don't even care about their own lives, but it's even worse because they don't care about the lives of their kids. Now, I didn't know a lot about the situation with Zeke Elliott, but I did find this article before we go to the Marjorie Taylor Greene clip, and I want to read a portion of it because I see why you're so pissed, bro, Mac.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott is the latest one to react to the league's new vaccine policy, which has some NFL players shaking their heads. The league memo released yesterday, basically states that if a certain team has a COVID-19 outbreak in the upcoming 2021 NFL season, that team will have to forfeit their upcoming game and will be tagged as a loss. In addition, a forfeiture will also result in both affected teams not getting their salary for that game week, which is more than enough reason for Ezekiel Elliott to get the vaccine. So he finally went and got the vaccine yesterday after this memo. And then, as you were saying, the reason, he said, this is the quote directly from Ezekiel Elliott. He said, literally, this is in quotes. You said game checks? Elliott asked on Thursday during the press conference of Dallas Cowboys training camp, and he went ahead and got the shot after he realized he was going to lose his check, but not before, in the middle of a pandemic that's disproportionately killing Black people.
But see, here's the thing, Ben. I don't think the NFL, and I want us to check the news here, because I don't think that the NFL is saying that any team who has a member of the team that tests positive for COVID, you're going to go through all this forfeiture. I don't think that's it. I think what they're saying is any team who has a member on that team who chose not to be vaccinated,
yes,
positive for COVID,
yes,
you're going to forfeit everything, right?
Right.
So, okay. So Zeke, I just whoop your little ass because of what you said Thursday. You went and got vaccinated. Welcome to the fam. Love you. Appreciate it. That's all I want.
It only took a financial incentive. Man, these people will follow their greed to hell or back. It's like, I don't need a financial incentive to get the vaccine. My self-preservation is the incentive.
You know, listen, I've always defined greatness is your ability to face fear and do something that's going to benefit somebody other than yourself.
Yeah.
Now, clearly in this case with Zeke, money was the motivator, right? I'm simply saying to our folks, let this be bigger than you. I'm talking about all of our folks that are out there who, if this vaccine is available, go get the vaccination.
Yeah.
Go get it. Listen, I understand the historical implications of what happened in Tuskegee. I understand the racism in this country. But trust and believe, there's enough people out here who's got their fingers on the pulse of information, like Brother Benjamin Dixon, that if it was some Jerry Lewis nonsense going on, we would be telling you,
Facts.
Don't do it. Here's what's going on.
Facts.
Right now, this damn logic that somewhere in the interview, Zeke said, man, everybody in my family, we've never been vaccinated about nothing.
Oh, God.
Okay, Zeke, I hear you. But not in 100 years has the world ever seen a pandemic like this one we going through.
Wow.
Okay? See,
yeah,
this is all different to everybody.
Wow.
So all of this, you can't tell somebody what to do with their body.
Bro, Mac, I want you to put something on your spirit real quick as we get ready to watch these two clips from Marjorie Taylor Greene, and because I really want. If Brother Mac, if you were in an argument with somebody that you knew had no sense of self-preservation of their own life, isn't that somebody that you just gonna be like, okay, you know what, I need to walk away because they could kill me, kill somebody, kill themselves? That, like, have you ever been out partying with someone who has no respect for like they have no sense of self-preservation? Those are the people who are leading our country. Listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a United States Congresswoman, and she laughs in context of the conversation about the pandemic. In particular, actually, I don't even want to set it up. Play the clip.
Do you feel any responsibility for keeping people in Georgia safe? You know, there are children, skinny people who have died of the coronavirus. Do you feel any responsibility?
Tia, you crack me up. You know what? I think people's responsibility is their own.
Bruh Mac, she's laughing. 400 children have died. And to that very specific question, she breaks out into laughter. When we have sociopaths in power, we can't be surprised when 630,000 people die from this pandemic.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, I promise you this, and this is where we have to keep America's. We have to help her to remember, right? I'm telling you right now, I need for somebody, man, and maybe this is something we should do, but we should go back to the beginning of the pandemic and listen and put together a video clip of everything that Trump said about it, how he dismissed it, poo-pooed it away. It was a Democratic thing. It's an Asian flu. It ain't nothing. It ain't this. All these things he did. Same thing with this woman. I don't care what race the children are who died. For you to have that type of reaction, but I also go back to January 6th. You fools just committed treason. And you're going to give this boy 8 months?
Right.
You're going to give him 8 months? I go back to Columbine. I go back to Sandy Hook. I go back to all these shootings where they're killing white kids. And the NRA is like, a casualty of war. We got to keep this thing going. See, if they feel this way about their children,
what do you think they think about
ours? Black Lives Matter, come on. They care less. I understand that. But that should not stop us from being the moral consciousness of this nation. And this is where we have to continuously scratch the consciousness of America, like it or not.
Come on, man. Come on, Doc. I got a Fox News clip from Fox and Friends, and they're arguing over whether or not they should mask kids. And
before you go to that, I'm gonna tell you this. I promise you this. And I love this potpourri of conversation because you and Georgia and Rebecca and DJ, y'all been talking about stuff all week, and I wake up and I tune in. So I got a whole bunch of stuff on my chest. But I'm gonna say this: all of these cats who are talking about don't take the vaccination, I really, really would want to know if them and their have been vaccinated. Now that's what I want to know,
David.
And if you feel so strongly about it, then walk your monkey ass right down into COVID Central and without a mask, and let's see how you fare. Take your children on down there. See, so they would allow their constituents, uneducated. They promote that to them. And the only reason they're promoting it is because this has become the new narrative. COVID is the new argument of the Confederacy.
All right, so actually, I want to go back to this clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene because you asked a good question. All these people are telling folks not to get vaccinated. Are they vaccinated? Well, Tucker Carlson is vaccinated. Donald Trump is vaccinated. You have to have a vaccine passport to get into Fox News. Seriously, they
out of here.
I mean, bro, Mac, they are so disingenuous. And their supporters are so dumb that their leaders are getting vaccinated, but they won't. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was asked a question about being vaccinated.
Borrow CBS News. Whip Scalise said today he got vaccinated, citing this Delta variant that's going around, and said he's confident that it's safe and effective. 2 questions. Have you yourself gotten vaccinated, and do you disagree with the Republican whip?
Well, your first question is a violation of my HIPAA rights. You see, your HIPAA rights, we don't have to reveal our medical records, and that also involves our vaccine records.
And do you disagree with
wait, David. You got to put her back in B-roll. Put her back in B-roll with that big, dumb, stupid-looking smile because she doesn't know what HIPAA rights are. We got elected officials who can't even use Google to find out what HIPAA is before. Like that obviously HIPAA is for doctors. She has a right to answer that question because it's her information. She's so.
But what she didn't want to say is, by answering this question, I'm approved to be a hypocrite. That's the HIPAA she was talking about. The hypocrisy of her. That's the reason she didn't want to answer the question.
That's
so
it.
They know, they are watching this mass of people who are clinging to something to be different. So if Black folks want to get vaccinated, they're anti-vaccination. If Black folks want to wear masks, we're anti-mask. And because she's tapped into that, because of this whole Trump, which is why I love what happened as a result of -45 being elected the POTUS of the country, is that it just took all of this underswell and just brought it up to the top.
Yeah.
You're playing on it.
Yeah.
So, but for any of you right-wingers, crackers, yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. For all of you, I want you to ask yourself this. Your non-wearing mask, non-vaccinated, the very people who are telling you this, they've been vaccinated. Their children have been vaccinated. They're wearing the mask. And your punk ass, your dumb ass is running around like this shit is a badge of honor.
Like it's a game. Like it's with their life, Doc.
If Trump was your commander-in-chief, Trump was right down there with you. Why didn't Trump grab the damn flag and just and start feeling his George Washington American Revolution and lead the insurrection into the Capitol? Why didn't he do that? Because see, he knew your dumb ass would
do it for him, and he could sit back.
And now you done went and put yourself there. But to the Americans, do you remember Scooter Libby? See, Scooter Libby outed a CIA agent.
That's right.
Trust and believe. When you out a CIA agent, Ben, do you know what they call that?
Treason.
They call that treason. Show me anywhere where treason has been an 8-month sentence.
Come on. 8 months. I want to play, David, grab that clip too, of us, of Rebecca and James and I breaking down the Vidal Sassoon guy who got 8 months. But first, I want to watch this clip of from Fox News because Dr. Mack, I think Joe Biden, I think everybody, especially Black folks, we got to know that these people are faithful even unto death, not just their death, but the death of their children. Here's Fox News debating mask for children.
Comes, Steve, as you mentioned, the administration reportedly debating whether to urge vaccinated Americans to mask up again. The president did, however, publicly say there's additional masking guidance likely coming for school kids.
The CDC is going to say everyone under the age of 12 should probably be wearing a mask in school. Those over the age of 12, if you're vaccinated, you shouldn't wear a mask. If you aren't vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask.
To be clear, children under the age of 12 are not currently eligible to receive the vaccine, but Biden predicted that will change, quote, soon. Unclear if that means by the time school starts in the fall. The shift in guidance comes as the CDC director says this spiking Delta variant now accounts for 83% of all COVID cases nationwide. And
so that's unbelievable. Kid abuse again. There's a 0% chance of a death, 0 to 4 years old in our country from this virus. Statistically, from 5 to 17, 0.1% of people have lost their lives in that age group. So you're going to mask up an entire generation for maybe 2 full years.
It's because the kids are not vaccinated.
Right.
The problem is
they're not. They don't need to be vaccinated. By statistically, they don't need to be vaccinated.
most of them don't show symptoms if they get
Right.
COVID, but I still don't want my daughter to get the COVID, this new variant. I don't want her to get COVID at all.
The downside is kids are not going to develop emotionally for an entire 2 years now through those ages that are so vital for their development.
The worry is the kid would pick it up at school and take it home and kill somebody in their family.
Then that family member can get vaccinated.
Well, right.
So
Exactly.
if the adult is vaccinated, there's no problem. If they choose not to get vaccinated, that's their problem.
But Brian, there are 90 million Americans who are not vaccinated.
And that is their choice.
That is why yesterday the top the top Republicans in America said get the vaccine. Mitch McConnell said, if you have not been vaccinated, save your life and don't kill somebody you love by bringing it home.
Right, and that person will not get killed if they get vaccinated.
I don't want to improperly identify the co-host. I think that co-host is Ainsley Earhart, Steve Ducey. Obviously, most people know Steve Ducey, Ainsley, but the guy, the monster on set. And the reason I want to identify Ainsley, if that's her, because I'm sorry, anyway, I digress. The point is that she cannot believe for the life of her that the person sitting to the left of her, from her perspective, is willing to sacrifice 0.0 something percentage of our kids. And she's like, I don't want my kids to get it in the first place.
Hey, man, you saw that motherly instinct say, damn, carrying the party line.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be my baby.
That's it.
And see, you look at her, Karen, look back, you know, I don't care what race you are. When you mess with a mama's babies,
that's it.
They all give you the same kind of look, right? But now, the thing that was amazing to me is that the more they start, now, if you just listen to when they first started talking,
yeah,
no mask, children abuse, no vaccination, no nothing. But the more they kept talking, the more they got to, we need to be vaccinated.
Yes.
You need to.
But here's the sadistic part of this, Brother Mac.
Yeah.
They're like Brian Kilmeade. He's there saying, oh, it's point something percentage. Right. Basically, it's zero. Y'all, 400 families have buried their children from this pandemic. Name me one reasonable, rational human being who is going to want to take those odds with their children. You have to suspend with all paternal instinct.
Everything.
Which is something that is anathema in the universe. It goes against the laws of the universe for a creature to ignore the well-being of their children, and not only ignore it, because sometimes people can get negligent, but actively take steps that will cause, I got to read this. A child in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district died of COVID-19, and she's still attacking masks and the vaccine. This is from the Washington Post. It was published yesterday, and this is how it reads by Philip Bump. He says, very, very few children have died of COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. It is one of the few aspects of the pandemic that offers some reassurance. At least children have usually been spared the disease's worst effects as a parent of 2 kids under the age of 5, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then he says, I mention this because my own children make the rare exceptions to that pattern even more painful. As with the death of a 5-year-old boy of the disease in Georgia last week, in that district that little 5-year-old boy died in was Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, as she laughed in the video asking about young people dying, a child of 5. I have a 3-year-old. I just don't understand, Brother Mac, how these people are so committed to white supremacy that they have suspended with self-preservation for themselves as well as for their children.
Brother Ben, the only drug that I know, the most seductive drug I know, is power. This, and the thing about it is, this woman has now, history has recorded her.
Yep.
History has absolutely recorded her. But okay, I don't want to be on the defense of talking about this crazy ass Karen.
Yes.
She could take her monkey ass down there and do whatever she wants to. But trust and believe, family, that when that reporter asked her, have you been vaccinated?
Yes.
If she said HIPAA, she meant hypocrisy. I don't want to expose my hypocrisy of telling folks this ain't no big deal. Don't do it. When I damn sure got me and my family vaccinated. See, that's what that is.
Yeah.
But let's move more to talking to our community. Trust and believe this, family. If you are part of this whole conspiracy thing and you got some damn logic that you want to spew to me about why Black folks should not get vaccinated, we need to round all y'all up. Behind the woodshed and one by one whoop your monkey ass and get y'all straight.
Because I'm laughing, but they are getting people killed.
Yes.
They are getting people killed, Doc.
I talked to a friend of mine who's down in South Carolina who's telling me that his grown ass brother is still staying with their mama. Now, I'm 59 and a half. So I can tell you that this grown ass brother has to be in his late 40s to early 50s. Ain't wearing a mask, didn't get vaccinated, and going out hanging with his boys, drinking from the same bottle, puff, puff, pass kind of shit. And I told my responsible friend, now, if that were my blood brother, grown ass blood brother staying with my mama,
we got to have a
behaving
conversation
like that, no, we wouldn't have had no conversation, man.
You know,
I would have flew down the mountain and
you know exactly.
his monkey ass.
You know what I meant by his conversation. We got to have a word or two there,
You
Doc.
want to go out there and puff, puff, pass and do all that
Come
shit.
on, man. In the middle of a pandemic?
I would have changed them damn locks. His ass, and trust and believe. I'd have stayed there for at least, and given that I'm retired, I might not even went home. I'd have had to stay there for a month because I know he couldn't fucking survive for a month. But trust and believe. We have to protect our people. But I will say this. The reason why that analogy doesn't work in my family is because I'm the only surviving child of my mother. My mother's had to bury my oldest brother Bug, and my youngest brother Goldfish, and God bless them brothers. But my brothers never would have behaved like that, number one.
Right.
More importantly, my mother during this pandemic, I talked about trying to come down there and see her. And my mama was like, you don't bring your ass down. You better stay up there in Maryland. I don't want you here. My mama loves me. I love my mama. But my mama was on that self-preservation thing. Like, look, baby.
Yes.
Stay your ass up there. We'll get
Mac, why are we led? I want to play this next clip from Dr. Washid, I want to pronounce the name correct, Rochelle, rather, Walensky. And she's addressing the same question. I just don't understand. What did you say? Power. You said the drug that is causing them to suspend with their own self-preservation and the preservation of their children is the drug of power. And I agree. Let's watch this clip of Dr. Walensky. As she discusses the exact same scenario about whether or not children should wear masks.
As a physician, we always want to be able to know and discuss the benefits and risk of anything that we're prescribing, including a vaccine.
Now, the first voice you hear is of the congressperson asking her the question. Here we go.
It's estimated that 40, maybe 50% of children have already had the COVID virus. What are the additional benefits to the vaccine to a child who's already had the virus?
I think it very much depends on what the variant that child might have had, whether they could potentially be infected or reinfected. And, you know, one thing I just want to note with the children is I think we fall into this flawed thinking of saying that only 400 of these 600,000 deaths from COVID-19 have been in children. Children are not supposed to die. And so 400 is a huge amount for a respiratory season.
Thank you. Dr. Woodcock, how many children under the age of 18 without a pre-existing condition, a significant health condition, died from COVID in this country?
I don't have that at my fingertips. I'm sorry.
Dr.
Over 400.
Without health
that
condition?
I don't know.
So I think the answer is probably zero. So I think if you take a deep dive, most of the children that have died had some type of underlying health condition.
I gotta read who this guy is so we understand who we need to.
I'm checking the whole little cross on his tie. You know?
Yeah,
I
that's
this fool.
I just want to identify him. That's Senator Roger Marshall. He is a Republican from the state of Kansas who essentially said, oh, those 400 kids that died, they didn't die from COVID-19. They died from underlying pre-existing conditions.
Or
I don't want to get arrested for what needs to be said to this man, but this is how sadistic they are. They don't care about their children, Brother Mac.
Or those 400 are casualties of war kind of thing, right? But more importantly, I would have asked the question, Marshall, are you and your children vaccinated?
That's it.
That's the question that every time you hear from anybody speaking
That's
about they're not going to get the vaccination, ask the question, have they been vaccinated? And then would they march them and their children into a hospital room that's dealing with the coronavirus when everybody is masked up, death is all around, and you walk through that valley? Would you do it? But see, the other issue about these 400 children and the other issue about our community, see, I get war. If there was a war, civil war, and for those who don't know, in the Civil War, there were more American lives lost in the Civil War than every war that America has ever been in put together. Add them all together, they don't equate to how many lives were lost in the Civil War. But in war, there's going to be death. Now, let's say that you had a civil war and only 400 lives was lost. 400 is 400. That's huge. But when you talk about war, it's a whole different thing, right? You can minimize, and I say that sensitively, because again, when you go to the families of those 400 soldiers who would have died, they're not really trying to hear this. Right?
That's it.
So I say that sensitively. But when you're talking about losing 400 lives, when they don't have to be lost, just put your mask on, because I trust and believe this. When my 14-year-old son goes back to school, him gonna be wearing a mask. I don't care if him the only one in the damn school with a mask. And if I find that the school is walking around non-mask, promoting their Confederology, my baby gonna be doing his shit virtually. Trust me, believe that. He will be doing it virtually.
You know why, bro, man? Because they ain't teaching our kids the history they need to learn in the first place. So we might as well save their lives and educate them properly anyway.
Got to do that, man. Got to do it. So I'm just saying to our community, look at the hypocrisy of this conversation that you now trying to apply your logic to and killing our community. People of influence in our community. Zeke Elliott and all you athletes, you have a platform just to think about how much you can push that narrative to saving other folks' lives and it not be dependent on a paycheck. Okay, Zeke, if it took the paycheck to get you vaccinated, cool in the game. But now where's your social responsibility? What if Ali were here today? What would Ali be saying to us? I want them socially conscious Black athletes to speak up about what needs to happen in our community about it. And let's not BS around. Okay. Again, we've seen, Ben, you've done a phenomenal job of showing us how little they care about their children. And they want to be stupid enough to follow that lead. I'm simply saying in our community, get the damn vaccination.
Get the vaccine.
Wear the mask. Because if so, those children in our community, if there've been 400 kids, there are 400 avoidable deaths that we could have simply avoided. They showed a young Black man who was, I got to say, he was in his mid-30s or early 30s. And I saw him on some news station a couple of days ago, who talked about this ideology he had about the vaccination and this can't affect him and it only deals with the elders and this kind of thing. I'm sorry, he was in his early to mid-20s. They had him on the camera, tubes running up, the oxygen flowing up, and the dude could barely breathe because of respiratory challenges of what that new variant did to him. And all he said is, if I had to do all over again, I would have got vaccinated.
We got to juxtapose it. That was a brother, right? You're talking about a young brother who played around with the vaccine and in the pandemic, caught it, and now he's like, yeah, damn, I wish I would have got vaccinated. Let's show you the opposite side of that. Here's a white man who went through COVID-19 in the hospital tubes and everything, and saying he still doesn't want to get vaccinated. Run that clip, David.
February. Scott Rowe is one of them.
Here I am, recovering, getting out of here finally tomorrow. Am I going to get a vaccine? No.
Why not?
Because there's too many issues with these vaccines.
This father, former baseball coach, small business owner, and hunter, caught COVID and then he developed pneumonia.
Before you got sick, if you would have had a chance to get the vaccine and prevent this, would you have taken the vaccine? Nope. So you'd have gone through this?
I'd have gone through this, yes, sir. Don't shove it down my throat. That's what's local, state, federal administration is trying to do, is shove it down your throat.
What are they shoving, the science?
They're shoving the fact that that's their agenda. The agenda is to get you vaccinated.
You know who Mr. Scalise is?
I know who Steve Scalise is very well.
Rowe, who is a
I didn't get the context of why you asked about Steve Scalise, other than Steve Scalise being a Republican who is a part of this narrative, this anti-vax narrative, also part of the big lie, and also a person who benefited from being saved by a black U.S. Capitol officer when Steve Scalise got shot up on the baseball field some years ago. His racist behind, supporter of white supremacy, clear connections there. We can unpack them, or you could just Google them for anyone's listening, don't know who Steve Scalise is. His racist behind benefited from the U.S. Capitol police officer who saved his life, but he himself is spreading this misinformation and a part of this machine that's got this dumb man in this bed, Brother Mac, suffering from COVID-19, barely recovering, looked like he could have died, and he still doesn't want to get the vaccine. This is how powerful their narrative is.
Hey, now, if I'm not mistaken, Scalise said get the vaccination. Get vaccinated.
Well, he has now, but he has actively been a part of this, and there has been a shift now. And I'm glad you brought that up. We saw this week a shift in Fox News. Finally, we saw the shift this week in Sean Hannity. We even heard Mitch McConnell come out and say, "Get the vaccine." And Steve Scalise, they're all on board now.
But I must say,
at the beginning of this,
I'm gonna say it to you again, Ben. I don't give a damn, black folk, if they had never changed their narrative. The number of people that were dying in our community because of this, I guarantee you, I'd be hard pressed to say that we can find anybody that we don't know. Ben, is it safe to say that you don't know anybody personally who's had somebody to die from COVID? You're immune to it.
No, I mean, yeah, no, there's just the bodies everywhere, man.
And I'm telling you that I know that I got far too many people that I know personally who's had family members to die of COVID. A guy that, look, man, we were like workout rats, gym rats together in college. Both his mom and dad died. Aunts. I mean, this guy must have had like 5 deaths in his family directly attributed to COVID. All of us can talk about this, man. So I don't care what their rhetoric says. I'm not buying into that. We have to understand men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Ben, how many folks died from COVID?
We're over 630,000 confirmed.
Men lie, women lie. Them numbers Ben just gave, they don't lie. They don't lie. We need to get that vaccine. We need to mask up. And Zeke, you and the rest of them brothers, I don't care if you're paycheck motivated. Come back to the fold. You're back in now that you got the vaccination. But I need you to change your narrative and help promote saving lives in our community. Do that.
I put it like this, Doc. And I appreciate the framing because we need to flip it. I need everyone to see exactly like what you've been trying to convey here, Brother Mac, that despite how careless and unconcerned they are with their own lives and with the lives of their children, we are not them. We are not they.
No.
We love our children.
Yeah, look.
We love our own lives.
Yes. Ben, you remember when we used to joke when we would talk about the little white kid in the supermarket? No, mommy, I'm not doing a damn thing. And we were talking about
not my kids.
If you shape your mouth to say no, mommy, I ain't doing a damn thing, man, you be getting knocked over into the cereal section somewhere. But now, getting to the point that our kids are beginning to have these kind of behaviors because we're digesting their narrative.
Ooh.
Look, man.
Ooh.
That mask, that anti-mask, trust and believe, that is their Confederate flag.
Yeah.
I promise you that. It's their Confederate flag. That it just, see, the reason why this makes no sense to, see, racism doesn't make sense, right? If you just look at us all as humans, it just don't make sense. But they gotta cling to this, man. There's just that big hole in their soul that they gotta have. And now, this whole vaccination, wear the mask, don't wear the mask, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated, but go and ask them if they're vaccinated. And you're going to hear exactly what little Karen said. That's a violation of my HIPAA. No, as Ben said, fool, if the doctors told them your medical situation, that's a violation of HIPAA. But you can tell the whole world whether or not you got vaccinated, but you ain't going to do it, little stupid Karen, because you don't want nobody to know the hypocrisy of, see, they not ignorant. Ignorant is you don't know.
That's right.
These fools, your constituents, are stuck on stupid, and you want to keep them stuck on stupid. And by answering that question, it would have took away that gorilla glue that you got them stuck down with. See, we understand that. But again, fam, they can follow that. They can follow that mantra all they want to.
We not.
Just use your damn common sense inside of our community.
Yeah.
We are not having this. Get the vaccination, wear the mask. But I'm going to say this to you. I'm going to be real clear because, see, I'm going to pretend for just a moment that I'm an elected official and I'm speaking to my constituents. Now, if by chance you don't want to wear the mask, and I'm strongly urging you, begging you to do it, but you don't want to do it, and you don't give a shit about your children, trust and believe Carl Mack, Jonathan Mack, and Joshua Mack, and their mama, Jamie O'Mack, all of us been vaccinated, all of us wearing the mask. And now that new variant is coming, I'm finna mask up again. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't even be talking to you on this show without a damn mask. But we gonna mask up, family.
Bro, back, man, we miss you, man. I know you had a whole lot of stuff working on in life, and I was laughing with the audience. I was like, Brother Mac came on the show and hit the ground running. You came and was on every episode for the full 2.5 hours for 3 weeks straight, immediately after us meeting each other. I was like, I knew at some point you got to catch your breath and retriangulate and calibrate rather. Man, we missed you. Glad to have you back.
Hey, man, all I could tell you, I'm glad to be back, Ben, but all I got to tell you, man, is when I woke up this morning and I heard you say, I'm flying solo, I said, man, somehow throw some water on your face swole, your hair all fucked up, but get
on the show.
Man, I said, look, let me put a hat, let me do whatever. I cannot have that flying solo, man.
Man, I appreciate it.
And what I love about this show is, we done covered all, I done tried to get into all the stuff you're talking about. Now, the same thing, let me go back because there's still some things that coming to me. When we're talking about white privilege, Hinckley, anybody that's the name Hinckley.
Yeah, it does. Why does, yeah, no, I know why that reminds me. Ronald Reagan, the guy who shot Ronald Reagan, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. See, when you're trying to understand what white privilege is, Hinckley shot a president of the United States. Now, all I need you to do is this. Treason, Scooter Libby outed a CIA. Treason, January 6th, they done broke into the Capitol. They talking about kidnapping a governor. Hinckley shoots Ronald Reagan at the Washington Hilton, I believe. His defense, I was crazy. You damn Skippy, you was crazy.
To shoot a president.
But this mofo is out today based on a plea of insanity. Try Just somewhere. Go deep in your soul and try to conjure up me. No, not me, not me. Okay, me. But I wouldn't do that. You know I wouldn't do that. But try to imagine me shooting any elected congressional member, let alone a president of the United States, and then saying I was crazy. They're gonna be like, and we're gonna inject your crazy ass with one dose, and we're gonna never see you again. Because you finna get up out of here. But this is what white privilege is, family. 8 months for insurrection. I can change the narrative and claim that I'm protecting American liberties because the election, I can't even explain that kind of shit. I can't even explain it. But these are the things that we're constantly seeing. So when somebody says, well, Carl, what is white privilege? White privilege is the ability to shoot a US president and still live. It is to commit treason and get 8 months. These are the examples of it over and over and over again in this country that we see. And Ben, you couldn't have put it any better. They would, and I love that, Ben. You need to coin that. Normally, when we talk about a miscarriage of justice from a standpoint of them penalizing you, we would say they threw the book at you. And you said they would have thrown the book. No, they would have thrown the bullets at us.
Yeah.
See, the book would not have been enough for that. For that insurrection,
right.
Normally they throw the book at you and trust and believe that everybody, had that been black, that would have, if they would have thrown the book, trust and believe you would have gotten serious jail time. But as you said, Ben, they didn't throw the book, they threw the bullet. But now let me take you back through history. And I want to take you to the Children's Crusade, right? And this is in Birmingham. The hoses, the dogs, all of these things, Bull Connor, all of these things. Now, most of you may not know about the Children's Crusade. But when Martin King led this effort of trying to fight for equality, they decided, there was a reverend by the name of Bevel who gave him the idea, hey, look, Martin, we done used up almost all the adults in this thing. Why don't we employ the children, let them be a part of this movement? And so at the 16th Street Baptist Church, that same church that was bombed and our 4 little baby girls got killed, murdered by these white supremacists. And Connie Lynch, who was a known white supremacist, said about the bombing, good, because it's 4 less little ends on the earth today. That's how insensitive he was. And I hear the same thing from these folks today. Marjorie, when she laughed at 400 children being dead, I hear the same thing as I do from Connie Lynch. Ain't no difference. But anyway, these children in Birmingham, and I want you to think of the courage of their parents. These children gathered at the 16th Street Baptist Church and they received training. And then they would release them out into Birmingham, 50 at a time, to go and protest. Told them what to do, what not to do, how to conduct themselves. The first day, they arrested over 1,000 of our children. And when I say children, I'm saying they were the ages, some as young as your child, 3rd, 4th grade.
Wow. Wow.
3rd, 4th grade. Now imagine
Can you help me place this in time? This is what year is this in this around? You said Birmingham, right?
Birmingham. Look up the children. Hold on. Let me go,
because I think I know somebody who was arrested in that group. Now that you mention it,
let me go to the Children's Crusade inside the calendar. Ben, if you got your calendar or Google the Children's Crusade. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, of 1963. I got it on the screen here. Yeah,
May 4th. Okay. Now, so what I'm saying to you is that these little children, were part of it. They arrested 1,000 children, and then the next day, but try to no. That's Little Rock. That's Little Rock, Arkansas. There, in the Children's Crusade, these were my babies. And Ben, I need you to just Google that so that you can see just how young our children were.
Okay.
But again, try to imagine the courage of our babies, but then the courage of the parents to allow the children to go. And the next day after they arrested 1,000, parents were saying to their children, "Now I don't want you down there in that foolishness." Children cut class and did everything to go down there and be a part of it the next day. And they arrested even more. And they show where the jails were just filled with children.
Lord, I know you got this on your calendar. You want to read from your calendar?
On May 4th. Yeah. But hold on, man. Because it's the crux of the story I want to get to.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how they deal with our children. I want to show you this as an example of white privilege. I want you to compare the Children's Crusade of children just simply marching for equality. They arrested them, okay? But then a week later, the Birmingham protest ends because all of America got to see how vicious Bull Connors was.
That's right.
And that's how it ended. But then now those children who cut class to be a part of the Children's Crusade, do you know what the school board in Birmingham did? They now tried to suspend all the children. They passed it and said all the children that participated in the Children's Crusade are suspended. And instead of boo-hooing and crying and, "Oh, I can't believe how racist you were," we went down there to that school board and we took them up. And you gotta let my babies alone. We got their ass right. Our children went back to school. But this is the way it is, family. For children marching for equality, you want to suspend them, expel them. But these fools done committed treason. And you want to talk about 8 months? You want to talk about a narrative of protecting democracy? You want to change that narrative? Man, go with that nonsense. This is the hypocrisy of democracy in America.
This is the hypocrisy of democracy in America. Who said
there you go?
Who said that? The hypocrisy of democracy in America. Is that Malcolm?
No, I don't know, but I've been saying it forever because when you study history, it's
right there in your face.
And family, I want you to understand as you're watching these pictures. See, these are high school students, but you got to understand that when the Children's Crusade started, they let out babies. I'm telling you, they're 3rd, 4th grade. I don't know if my camera, if you're going to be able to pick this up, Ben, but I'm going to try to, David, if you could cut directly to me, you can cut to me so that you can see this picture. And I think I got it where it's fair.
The other me.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go. There you go. All right, let me stop right there. Yeah, put it up there, David. See, that's how young those children were.
Wow.
Small babies, right?
Wow.
We're talking 4th and 5th grade. And they were ready to be a part of this. But the brother who encouraged King, so a lot of people want to give King the credit for that. It was a brother named Brother Bevels who came up with this idea of using our babies. But not only am I so humbled by the fact that our children got inside the Children's Crusade, but I'm also so humble. Try to imagine that as a parent, you have to say, yeah, my child can go out and be a part of this crusade against this racist society. That's the part about our history that I want us to engage in, not just the known people, but now try to put yourself in the mindset of those Black parents in Birmingham who allowed their children to go. Try to put your mindset in the minds of those children who the next day, after seeing their friends get arrested, thought it a badge of honor to get arrested for standing up for something good. See, that's what greatness is. Even though I'm afraid, I'm going to do it anyway. And all I'm saying to your family is that we have to have the courage to stand up in our community when there are people that we normally respect in our community who are trying to give us some narrative that it's okay not to be vaccinated. It's okay not to wear the mask. No, it's okay for us to take you behind the woodshed and whoop your monkey ass and get you right too. Like it.
Doc, I want us to thank you for juxtaposing those two things, right?
Yeah.
Because look at how America treats children, right? And then somebody say, "Oh, that's 1963." Okay. Tamir Rice was 12.
Yes.
Ma'Khia Bryant was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Martin, I forgot, he was a teenager. Michael Brown was a teenager, right? We've seen this country in the past, as well as in the present, treat Black lives as if we are the ones committing treason, when we have seen throughout history, Black lives have stepped up to protect and build this country, while spoiled men children in the form of white supremacy run around burning stuff down anytime we get one step ahead. Because the thing I think they fear the most, Doc, I want you to get the last word. We'll get out of here, man. It's Friday. You got on your 18-hole Baptist church gear. I'm not going to keep you from the golf course.
I'm good. Hey, man, but look, Ben, the other part of that narrative, as you come down and list all of our Black children, I want every one of them school shootings, the overwhelming majority of those school shootings were not our children. I mean, our children, Black children, but they're still our children.
Humanity, yeah.
But look at how they dealt with those children. The children from Columbine, from Sandy Hook, those parents who were hurt, they showed no sympathy at all. Oh, yeah, we're sorry. Yeah. But are you going to go against the NRA? Are you going to put in some decent legislation? These are the overwhelming majority of these kids who were killed in these school shootings. I got to believe, Ben, and I don't know the data, but I got to believe the overwhelming majority of these children are white or something other than Black.
Yeah.
Okay. And look at how dismissive they are with their own children. These are the type of elected officials that you have to look at. You have to look at their morality. And instead, you have deified them and made them feel that they are above the law, which is why they talk to you in such a stupid, hypocritical way. Don't go get the vaccine. Make sure you have a dose for me and my children. Okay?
Yeah.
That's
exactly right. That's exactly right.
You got to get that dose. So we can't do that. So Ben, when we talk about the immorality of these people, you can even look within their own communities and see their immorality.
I'm reminded of, and we're gonna get out of here. But the best example of this is Joe the plumber. The way forward in the conservative movement is who's willing to sacrifice as much blood as they possibly can. Who's willing to step on the bones and the blood and the memory of their children? Because, like you said, with Sandy Hook, I just knew. I knew for a split second that there's no way they're going to allow their precious children, this small, these babies, to be killed and not do anything about it. But not only did they let them be killed and not do anything about it, Joe the plumber made his entire career off of being willing to say this. He said, "Your children do not trump my Second Amendment."
Exactly right. Hey,
those are the people running our country. Trust
and believe that. Trust and believe. And again, Ben, look, bro, when I heard you was flying solo, man, I had to do whatever I had.
I appreciate it, Doc. And the audience appreciates it too, because they're in the chat room. I know you don't see the chat, but David, let me know that they are so glad to see you back, Doc.
Yeah, man. But listen, man, and David, thank you so much for working to get me technically out of the swamp and get me up here with my brother. Because Ben, when I saw you, I said, but I got to tell you, man. I talked to Rebecca for the first time this week, man, and I was so glad I spoke to her, because I'm gonna tell you, there was a part when you asked Rebecca, Naomi, the tennis player.
Oh, the Naomi Osaka. Yeah.
Naomi has Haitian roots.
Yeah.
You asked Rebecca.
Well, I wish we had that clip handy. I might throw it in post-production when I asked her to be the Haitian mother or auntie or something. I forgot what I asked her. Yeah.
You asked Rebecca, how would you greet Naomi? Rebecca.
The Haitian auntie skit. That's what it was. It was Rebecca's Haitian auntie skit.
God. I swear to you, man, I laughed till I cried, man. I'm gonna tell you something. You need to put that clip up, and it just needs to be I mean, Rebecca was she's not.
Oh man, we've been having a good time, Doc. Back and,
so anyway, man, look, I'm glad to be back with your fam, and
yeah,
I just wasn't about to let you fly solo. The moment,
hey man, I need my wingman. You can't fly without your wingman. You don't fly solo without a wingman, right?
Gotta be right there. Gotta be right there, man. So
I love it.
Make this thing happen.
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You helped me because I was getting ready. I've done these 3-hour stretches by myself. I was getting ready to buckle in and do it, but now you made it a lot more enjoyable, Doc, and the audience thanks you, and I really appreciate it. And
man, just
we can get you back on the schedule for next week so we can get more of this.
Man, and you in Georgia, man. I mean, the issues that you all were covering. I mean, man, just to sit back and kind of watch it, man, was just fascinating. I'm just so impressed with these messages.
That's a blessing, man. I appreciate that. Well, we're gonna do more. We got some exciting announcements that are coming up soon. Some stuff that I'm gonna fill you in on off air. But the people want what we're doing. The people want this energy. They want this vibe. They want the laughter. They want the seriousness. They want the issues. They want the community. And they want Brother Mac a part of that too. So, Brother Mac,
man, I tell you, man. But you know, I certainly love being a part of the fam, man. But I got to tell you, man, that chemistry between DJ, Rebecca, and yourself is magical. It is.
Oh man, thank you.
Absolutely magical, man. And then there's things that'll happen between. It's almost like a hidden conversation between DJ and Rebecca. Like they just know.
Yeah,
go with it, man.
But they didn't got their relationship separate from mine. See, it was easy, like because now they have their secret communications that they send between each other. They telepathically.
What I'm saying, I think it's almost innate. They just read each other so well. They just know when to say what they say.
Yeah.
Idiosyncrasies and all of that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful,
man. But anyway, man, I so enjoyed watching the entire fam, man. And like I said, you were in Georgia, especially. I want to say, was it you in Georgia talking about the sister that was the Karen that was acting all crazy and didn't have her business license?
Yes, that was the daycare Karen. Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you something, man. You know, for the first time, I'm watching Georgia, right? As we always watch her, and Georgia has this professional seriousness. Man, when Georgia was getting in that story, I thought Georgia was about to fucking take her earrings off and be like, no. So Georgia,
hey,
just know I saw it. I swear, Georgia, I almost saw you like this.
Let me tell you, but here's where it is. This I love when our shows, it's magical because our shows dovetail together. You know what it is? The topic that made her pull her earrings off, rhetorically speaking, but I know she would do it in real life. Georgia Fort will pull them earrings out and grab the masculine like him. Children, her children, other people's children. We collectively will fight and defend not only our children, but our neighbors' children. And we are being led by a group of people who not only won't fight for their children, but they will put the conditions in play for their children to die.
We'll sacrifice them. Absolutely. And I hope that for anybody watching this show, that is the thing that I want you to take away from it. Every one of these people that you've seen on the right talking anti-vaccination, America's pushing its wheel on your body, wearing the mask, all of those people in their private lives, they've been vaccinated. Their children have been vaccinated. And I guarantee you, they're not going shopping at Wally's World or Costco or anywhere to the movies, and they ain't masked up. I guarantee you that. And yet we in our community want to sit here and listen to some kind of bullshit logic about not being vaccinated. Man, come on with that, family. Not wearing the mask. No, family.
We actually love our children.
Yeah.
Can I ask? I'm gonna leave with this. And Brother Mac, we're gonna see you. We're gonna expand these conversations. We're gonna have some good conversations on this show.
Yeah.
I want to leave with this because you have framed it so perfectly. I want to leave a clip and then David. Shout out to James, DJ Exclusive, who's traveling today. Rebecca, you're in our thoughts. She announced it yesterday. But she had a procedure. She announced it on air yesterday. Only reason why I'm repeating because she announced it, but she had a procedure today. So you all keep her in her thoughts.
You're not violating her HIPAA laws.
Yeah, we're not violating her HIPAA laws. She actually said it herself. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Obviously, Georgia was here this morning. Brother Mac is here. I also give shout out to Brother Anthony Galloway. That's a brilliant brother who always comes in and blesses us. David in the background. Dwayne has been out of town this week, but David held it down for him. David, thanks so much. I'm going to we are not having a patron party tonight, but I'm coordinating with David. We possibly are going to have a question, ask me anything tonight, but we haven't coordinated it yet. But look for it, patrons. If you're a patron of the Like It or Not show, the Benjamin Dixon show, Georgia Fort, we cross pollinate, support each other. And so tonight I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything. We'll get you the details via Patreon. I got to leave us with this clip because and I want us to do the exact opposite of what we've seen in this clip, because the call to action that you gave us, Brother Mac, is the most important thing. No matter how ridiculous America is, we don't have to jump off the cliff with these ridiculous people who are willing to sacrifice their children. Get vaccinated. Let's get 100%. You said it last time you were here. Let's get 100% vaccination rate in the Black community. Let's do it. But here's a clip of what we're not going to do. We're not going to play these stupid games. We're not going to find conspiracy theories or ways to try to justify us not getting. In this clip, as we get ready to go, they've gone so far as to say that mask is nothing more than a fetish. Now, we'll talk about it on Monday, but this is what we are as black people cannot do. And as human beings, can I say this? Because this is something else you hit on, Brother Mac. When we say black, we're talking about our tribe. We're talking about the diaspora. We're talking about that Negro intimacy that is telepathically communicated that Michael Eric Dyson put. We are concerned about blackness because we're concerned about our tribe, but we're also concerned about humanity. And so we are concerned about your children, no matter what race they are, as much as we are concerned about our children. All we're saying is that America has been following the people who would sacrifice their children for centuries. You reminded me, Brother Mac. They had to make child labor laws to not exploit their children, not black folks. That's it. Let's play this clip and then David, give us some music. Brother Mac, love you, brother. I'm gonna speak to you probably in a few minutes anyway. Everyone in the Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, thank you all so much. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact, you can still hit the like, share, and subscribe button to help us fight back against this algorithm. The Benjamin Dixon Show, like it or not, on the clock, and none other than our own historian, Brother Carl Mack. We will be back next week, Monday. Here's a clip of what we're not going to do, and then some music, and we'll see y'all on Monday. Take care.
We would see someone with abused children, and they let abuse happen over and over again, knowing it was happening. We would say, you are a stupid parent, right? You are stupid. Why are you letting this happen?
Yeah.
But at some point, if it continues, wouldn't you think, okay, you're not just stupid, you're complicit. You are complicit in this abuse because now you know it's happening.
That's right.
And you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
So at what point, and I think that time is now, Stu, do we say, you parents that are allowing your children to be strapped up with a sexual fetish, with a very abusive tool of submission, you are complicit in this unless you go around and march and protest until this mask mandate is lifted, and until any vaccine mask mandate is lifted. You are complicit in the abuse of children.
These parents will be held to no different standards than the elected representatives or candidates that I'm talking about. If you're not actually doing something to fight this, if you're just bitching and moaning and complaining, which is what these elected representatives are doing. Again, I see another headline today. Rand Paul really grills Fauci. I don't really care.
I don't care either.
Yeah, click on the link from Rand Paul's social media page. It'll take you to his grifting fundraising website. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make money.
I was trying to go.
If you really want to grill the guy, how about this? How about demand a criminal investigation, indict this guy?
Dude, I was trying to go. I can't let that stand.
Man, what is wrong with them? You try. Look, man. Old girl done took the mask. The S&M is sexuality. Baby girl, what kind of shit you watching?
Fox News.
You know, man, what?
All right.
Done took the mask to the bedroom. No, she done got it to, what was that? How many degrees? What was that? Silky
what is it? It's 50 Shades of Grey.
How many shades?
50 Shades of Stupidity.
Yeah, man, this girl here, she done got it. This Karen here. Into some kinky shit. I'm just yeah. He done took the mask to the 50 Shades situation.
You know what they try to do? They're trying to tie it to QAnon. That's what it is. They're trying to tie wearing a mask to the QAnon sex trafficking of children conspiracy theory. Man, I wanted to go, but these people are so painfully dumb and dangerous. And they have the platforms. They have the media. They have the billionaires.
No, Ben. I ain't even giving them all that, because guess what? We got it too right here, right now. They got it. We got it. Right. And that's all we saying to our community. Jay, you check this out. You say what you want to. If you want to agree with, if you don't agree with masks, okay. Take your monkey ass out there without a mask. Your babies? You don't let your children do that? Nah, that ain't the way we rap, fam. We not rap like that. So if they want to go out there and start, if Karen want to start talking about she want to do 51 Shades with me with a mask, I'm saying, Karen, you can't do that with me. I'm done now. I'm done. It was a time in my life when you might have got me. I ain't there right now with you, Karen. So, you go deal with somebody else, but I ain't dealing with you like that. But when you want to start talking about in the midst of a pandemic, when folks are dying and we're talking about protecting children, you want to take that to 51 Shades of
Stupidity.
Shit, damn, girl. I'm going to tell you something, girl. You kinky like a mofo.
Y'all get brother back off the screen. Wait, I thought we were going home. We're not going home yet, brother Matt. You got 5 more minutes because David keep bringing these clips.
5 more minutes, man. That's the kinky thing. I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Hey, put her back. Put the video.
That little baby girl there. Nah,
she had to bring kids into the conversation. That's wild.
Man, she not no PYT. She a freaky dicky D. She the star.
Why is she talking about fetish? Well, how do you draw a fetish? Next clip is it's even worse. This is a black preacher. I want to get your opinion on this because I'm gonna share this with I'm gonna share this through the pipeline because this is a black preacher we covered this week who was talking about the pandemic. Here he's talking about the Clintons. He was talking about Chadwick Boseman dying of poisoning because he supported Donald Trump, which he did not. That's the clip we covered this week. I want you to listen to this clip from a self-proclaimed prophet Gaithers as he talks about Kobe Bryant being. I can't even describe it. Let's just play the clip, David. I can't even explain it.
He was scheduled to go into witness protection, according to my contacts within the federal government, because he was about ready to expose the Clintons. Kobe Bryant was invited by the Abson Institute out of Colorado, December of 2013, to take part of the January 2014 Clinton Global Initiative, Now, Kobe Bryant spoke here in New York City during the month of January 2014. Kobe Bryant, woman of God, was also a part of the Clinton Global Initiative's Haiti Fund, which millions of dollars, which was earmarked to the Haitian people as they needed help to recover from the Haitian earthquake some years ago, was stolen by the Clintons, beginning with this couple, this Bonnie and Clyde couple, Bill and Hillary Clinton. So Kobe Bryant was going to expose that because they did not pay him his full honorarium that they promised that they would pay him when he spoke here in New York City in January 2013 for the Clinton Global Initiative.
Man,
you think Kobe Bryant was concerned about one honorarium at all? Go ahead, bro, Mac. What you got?
Bro, let me tell you something. I don't know who this fool is.
Bishop Larry Gaithers, but yeah, he's a fool.
Bishop of what denomination?
The denomination of stupidity. You got it.
Okay, but listen, so let's not put that title on him, because if we do, That's
he can run with it. Yep.
That's false information. Bishop of what denomination? But so family, this is what I'm saying to you. See, we have to hold true to ourselves. Now, just like we talk about them crazy crackers when they act like crackers, we got to talk. See, this brother here is a fine example of the newest induction to the Kunta Hotel. This fool just got himself a lifetime reservation in the penthouse suite of the Kunta Hotel. Him and people like Joe Brown. See, y'all call him judge. He ain't worthy of that title. Now, see, these fools are examples of, I'm going to say the most outlandish things about my community because it's going to get me notoriety.
That's it.
So we see these fools, but Gaithers, the only thing you getting from me is I got the pen and I have marked your reservation effective immediately in the Kunta. I'm going to have a door between you and Joe Brown. Y'all can share that and walk between rooms, make you feel like you're in bigger rooms. But you are in the Kunta. You don't deserve no other conversation from us. And then I'm going to tell you something. Now, I done talked about my mama. Now, there's 3 athletes that my mama loves to no end. At the top of that list is Venus and Serena Williams. And right next to them, not below them, but probably right next to them is Kobe. You can't say nothing bad about Kobe. My mama wanted to beat me down about how Kobe was better than Michael Jordan. Kobe was better than anybody. You can't say nothing bad about Kobe.
Wow.
My mama had seen you, Gaithers, talking about her beloved Kobe like that. My mama would have whooped your monkey ass. I have no doubt about it. She would have whooped your monkey ass.
I love it.
Because my mama ain't here, I done put your monkey ass in the Kunta.
The Kunta Hotel.
Hotel. That's where
he's got a penthouse suite.
Right there.
That's it. Brother Mac, we're going to call it there. You're the man. I'll see you on Monday.
I look forward to it, man.
Everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us so long. We will see you all Monday. David, it's in your hands. Give us some good music to get out here and start our weekend with. We will see everyone next week. Love you. Mean it. Bye-bye.
Deuces.
With the kid, know I got to get paid. Keep it real with you, I've been in the field, in position. Look, hey, I've been trill, you can tell by how I feel when you with me. Look, wave, tell me, can you slide for a real one? Slide for me, slide for me. Can you slide for a real one? Can you slide for me, slide for me. Can you slide for a real one? Can you slide for a real one? Can't tell me nothing, I'm flexing stunting. Eating all my veggies in my pocket, half an onion, and that pack smell like a funyun. Trump be beating, shit be humming. You can hear me round the corner before you ever see me coming, and they know just how we coming. Pants drumming, she gon' bust it open way before I finish thumbing. I can put you on some paper, proper play, and teach you something. Got my stones on Himalaya, know I'm out your sucker ducking. Ain't no need for that discussion, bluffing with the game. About to build a couple million, came with nothing but my name. I'ma twist it, flip it, stick it like a bop it. Tell them stop it, all them haters out of pocket. Let me plug it like a socket, baby. Big on the stairs, what they said, part. So I skip straight ahead to the bread part. Top out, I'm cool on the chick check. With the kid, know I got to get paid. Big on the stairs, what they said, part. So I skip straight ahead to the bread part. Top out, I'm cool on the chick check. With the kid, know I got to get paid. Wave, tell me, can you slide for a real one? Slide for me, slide for me. Can you slide for a real one? Can you slide for me, slide for me. Can you slide for a real one? Can you slide for baby, say I make him nervous. Maybe cause I'm real on the surface. Maybe cause I'm 10 down where the turf is. Don't get lost in those facades on the guys. You know ain't nobody perfect. I just put the work in, I know what my worth is. I'm living lavish, I'm flossing, bossing a bag and up cash off the passion. Out here with my niggas, AV to the casket. We reckless, stay in your lane. I'm on gas till somebody cut the brakes. Cutting off these haters in the heads of the snakes. Just spinning the plan, but you catching on late. And she just sent the emoji, said she wetter than a lake. So I better not flake, take a break, say word. Hit me when you through with that, then we can shift again. My schedule been clear. These see me, they mad like I'm one of their peers. I put that on Sita, so I'm sure it's abundantly clear. I'm hella big on the said what I said. Eyes low off the legal and the red web. Put the leg room and the roof gone. Man, I came a long way from them deals off the Groupon. Right? Big on the said what I said part. So I skip straight ahead to the bread part. Tapped out, I'm cool on the chit chat. Fuck with the kid, know I got the gift back. Big on the said what I said part. So I skip straight ahead to the bread part. Tapped out, I'm cool on the chit chat. Fuck with the kid, know I got the gift back. Keep it real with you, I've been in the field in position. Yeah. I've been trail, you could tell by how I feel when you with me. Yeah. Tell me, can you slide for me? Can you slide for it once? Yeah. And tell me, can you slide for it once? Yeah.
The original man. You might think of the menacing style.